dobre.
I've been here since January, so that was scary. I got pretty good at putting snow chains on, let's put it that way. Once you've done it a few times, it's just like driving a Volkswagen.
Sister, mala sister.
Your sister?
Mala sister.
Okay.
Hey, chocolate. Hi, sister. Sister.
They all have sisters.
Some armies spend all their lives training and never actually go to war. Other armies fight an occasional war, and the rest of the time they rot. But some armies spend their whole time soldiering. Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry, former Yugoslavia, 1994. This regiment is only 80 years old, but it has fought in France and Italy and Holland. It has served in Korea and Germany and Cyprus, and this is its third tour in Bosnia and Croatia. It's almost routine by now. You take over a section of the line. You man the old observation posts, OPs, and start building new ones.
That's 50 cal. That's 6 rounds of 50 cal. Yeah. 50, 100 meters.
What's behind us?
Yeah, coming from the, looks like the east, south direction.
You count the shots and report them.
It doesn't phase any of the people in the streets.
Small arms burst of 10 to 15 rounds.
If the OP is in a town, you put chicken wire around it to stop grenades. And above all, you make contact with the opposing commanders.
I'm Lieutenant Colonel Ray Walasachuk, and I've been a soldier for 23 years. By far, what I'm going through right now as a soldier and as a commander is the most difficult of tasks, but the most rewarding of anything that I've ever done. Any of the military liaison, which I think we are, as Canadians, are extremely capable of dealing with any nation in the world, any of their military leaders on a personal level, did not exist here. They were not even talking to each other. Within 1 day of arriving, we established one as an operation, as an objective when we're here, that if we're going to accomplish some good, you've got to have the involvement of the other warring party in here.
This is anti-personnel mines by moving, by wire connect.
Colonel Walasachuk commands the other Canadian regiment in former Yugoslavia, Lord Strathcona's Horse. In all, there are over 2,000 Canadian soldiers in the Balkans.
What we're going to be doing right now is just going across the bridge from OP Mike to what is we now call OP Papa. That was the OP that in fact was held by the previous battle group, and the Serbs took it back from them. They captured them, held them a hostage, and then basically the Canadians had to pull back over here. In the last couple of weeks, we've developed good relations again with the Serbs. We are in the process now of today moving some recce squadron elements over onto the other side into Papa, and I'm simply going to go over and touch base with the Serbian commander, let him know that we're pleased with the cooperation, and have a chance to meet some of my command structure, make sure there's no problems. The important thing that the battle group is trying to do right now is we're trying to make sure that all three factions understand that we are not taking a side, we are simply trying to stabilize the situation and create a better opportunity for peace.
Nisha Meric is the Serbian brigade commander for the Iljaš area.
We wait for answer.
Narušio sam primirje.
They are patient.
There are three sides in this war at the moment, and the front lines are a tangled mess. But there's one constant. Wherever you are, you're looking up at hills. And every hill has somebody's troops on it.
Now we don't want to shoot on the vehicles, but it's very important for the Muslim side because connect Kiseljak and Visoko. And village below us is called Zbilje. And before war, that village was a Serbian village. So most of the citizens were Serbs. Now it's Muslim control. Muslim controls that part.
There was a lot of multiple shot reps from all over the area. We had shots coming down from in the valley. We had shots coming over from the bridge there. We had shots coming down from over in Padici area. And we were calling them in. And next thing you know, when the QRF was investigating the shots over in Padici, we took 4 rounds at the OP. I got on the C6, returned fire for that. Then they shot 2 more rounds back, and I returned fire again. It's been pretty quiet.
The Canadian Army has learned that you always shoot back, even when you're peacekeeping. If you do, everybody respects you. Otherwise, you're useless.
Vi ste još jedini
You are the only
u okviru
one
jednih nacija
within the United Nations
koji se niste opredijelili ni za jednu stranu.
who have not taken a side.
Zato vas svi poštuju.
That's why we respect.
Koji korektno ovo. Zato ste otišli u Goražde.
The modest tent setup behind me is smack in the middle of the zone of separation. Some other people might know it as a buffer zone or a no man's land. But suffice to say that off in that direction is the Croatian side, and behind me, about a kilometer, is the Serbian side. Now, it's at this location where a lot of the hard and frank discussions about the practicalities of the ceasefire agreement, exactly how it's going to be implemented, how we're going to resolve violations are discussed. Today, you're going to see an exchange commission, in this case, a straight prisoner of war. Exchange 8 from one side for 7 on the other, plus a piece of paper. The piece of paper represents a statement from a fellow that's chosen to stay on the side, for whatever reason that may be. We provide security. We will do vehicle and weapons checks. Plus, we'll also block entry for anybody that's not authorized, other than the international organizations and the exchange commissions.
A month ago, these men were trying to kill one another.
The Red Cross people, they will go speak with the exchangees from both sides. One of the things they're doing, of course, is ensure, confirm names, ensure that they're happy and healthy. Usually when they're this close to their relative freedom, they're extremely happy.
Establish a reputation for being tough but impartial, and it's amazing what you can get done. The Canadians followed up their success on prisoner exchanges by organizing exchanges of bodies. But eventually, one side returned some bodies that their troops had mutilated, and the shooting started up again. Nothing stays fixed here for long.
This is nothing unusual in this part of the ex-Yugoslavia. I've, along with some of the other liaison officers, have found many cemeteries like this. Gives you a real appreciation of the hatred that's in this country for the different ethnic groups. And as you can see, there's bones lying about everywhere, here. See, they've dragged this guy out of his casket, and he's been split in two. His skull and jawbone is down here. Just been touring the Medak Pocket area, famous for January 22nd, 1993, when the Croatians attacked and cleaned out the Medak Pocket, slaughtering a number of individuals, and soldiers from the Patricias were required to go and do the cleanup, including a removal of the bodies.
Hello, my name is Corporal Tilly. It's my second tour over here in Croatia. First one was with a 2nd Battalion, Winnipeg, and we rolled into Medak Pocket. There was Croatians everywhere. They had a pretty good defensive position set up. They had just finished burning everything. Most stuff was on fire. They had a lot of people were killed. A lot of dead animals, cows, bulls, chickens, sheep. The place was mined up pretty good, and a lot of civilians were in the hills. They used them as, I guess, more or less pack mules, and then killed them in the hills. Found an older lady. She was shot up the back with a machine gun. She buried just out in front of their position. Found another young boy we dug up one night with a backhoe. He was about 16, I guess 17. Yeah, we found 6 or 7, I guess, all through one main road.
And then our patrol found 3 in the hills.
Only a couple of weeks after the Princess Pat's and Lord Strathcona's horse arrive, the Canadians take their first casualties of this tour. There are an estimated 600,000 mines in the Canadian area of operations.
Well, we only lost his lower legs on that one.
But if you're going to control it, you have to move around despite the risks.
What caused the injuries was not so much the metal fragmentation that was going on, it's the dirt that was in the road and the rocks and stones from the pavement. That's what caused the damage. It acted like a sandblaster, and it just blasted the meat and the flesh right off the body.
That's a hell of a message.
Oh, geez, I guess it is.
I guess every time you go into an operation, my feeling is that it's good to get bloodied early, and it's a hard thing to say. But I think what it has done for us, it has awoken in the soldiers that sense that we are in a theater of operations, we are in a theater of war, and that accidents do happen.
You all right?
Yeah.
Can you hear me good? Okay.
Since Canadian troops first came to the Balkans, 10 soldiers have died and 71 have been seriously injured, mostly in mine blasts and road crashes.
A little bit more. You got her done. There we go.
One, two,
It's aligned pretty well. But anyway, he's got a fractured spine. Yeah, I know.
It is a dangerous job, and it's every soldier that's out there, no matter how innocent his tasking could seem. You've got to be aware that there's danger lurking in the grass and on the side of the roads.
When the Canadian Army goes peacekeeping, it goes equipped for war. You have to, because the name of the game is stick and carrot. You bring a big stick with you, and you make sure that everybody can see it.
Today what we're going to do is we're going to do a range practice, basically for the morale of my troops. We're going to fire a few missiles downrange. The tow weapon system, basically, it's a long-range anti-armor missile system. I don't believe we're going to use it in a peacekeeping role, but a deterrent. That's what we're here to prove today, to show the Serbians what type of firepower we actually have here.
Okay. The optical sight is attached to the missile control set, which is attached to the back of the missile through the wires that hang out the back. When I move the head controller, it sends a signal through that system and controls the flight of the missile. And that's how we kill tanks.
You don't try to impress both sides at once, of course. This morning, it's the Serbs' turn. And since you want your targets to blow up in a spectacular way, you use a little showmanship. These are old, burned-out tanks with holes in them. So you hang open gas cans inside and tape over the holes.
Why the plastic?
Keeps the fumes in. With the fumes, it's a bigger boom.
A bit further out is an M4 Sherman tank that the number 6 vehicle will be firing at.
7-4, fire now, over. Looking good, looking good. Yes! 7-4, good shooting. 7-2 Alpha, stand by. 7-2, fire now, over.
Like a hot knife through butter. Hot knife through butter.
Kaže, to treba biti, kaže, onda imati vruć nož We can reload, right? 2 missiles in less than 25 seconds.
Kaže, mi možemo ponovno napuniti 2 zrna za manje od 25
And in 1 minute we can have 4 missiles downrange.
I kaže, u 1 minuti možemo imati 4 zrna upućena prema strelištu.
I understand your concern.
Whatever the Serbs get, the Croats get too. And it's always stick and carrot.
If you have any doubt,
If he speaks good English as I do, what should I say?
if you see that
If
he
the
has
Serbs speak good English.
Okay, but a Serb won't have an identification card.
Yeah.
And the thing that you should do is
maintain your normal defense as you would, but see the identification card before you shoot anybody.
Okay, show me the identification card so I will see in the future.
All right. See, it has our photo, our signature, United Nations, and the stamp.
Yeah, the stamp is most important. Okay, thanks.
Now,
U toku dana još nekako pa ga prespoznajemo, ali u toku noći se
during the night you should do it.
Radi njihove sigurnosti.
The notification.
Radi njihove
well,
sigurnosti.
we're not going to do that. I guess is the bottom line. Your generals and your colonels are aware of our patrol plans that we discuss with them at joint commission meetings.
Kaže da naši pukovnici, generali, da imaju da su upoznati sa njihovim planom za patroliranje.
But one of the ways that we maintain security in the zone of separation is by keeping both sides guessing to a certain extent, so that we're not predictable. Our type of security, and you have your own. You'll understand that.
First, you show them that you're tough, professional soldiers they'd better not mess with. Then you build a rapport with them as fellow professionals. It isn't fake, but it's not unintentional either.
The barrel is heavier. It's very good, actually. Did you want to see it? Only if I get to see your...
Yeah, no, this is not our production. This is,
Let's see. The scope is good for both day and night. Zakočen ti.
What? Made in Canada.
Yep.
It's great.
It's not as heavy as I thought it would be.
This is Serbian product.
Now it's modeled after the original from the Soviet Union, is it not? Yeah, Yugoslavia.
Može malo da vidimo. May I? Yeah. May I?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
I'll show you mine if you show me yours. But the emotional logic being peddled here is this. We're professionals, and you're professionals, and even that lot over there are sort of professionals, so maybe we can all ease up and cut the poor civilians a little slack. Just a little, like one day when all the people who used to live in this village can go back and see what's left of it, for example.
Essentially what we provided was the security in place, both presence. We wanted to make sure that the blue helmets and the blue flags are out there because that's a confidence building measure for them to actually go back into the village. But also for the other side to know that this undertaking that was on was in fact part of a UN operation and that things should be left alone. And in fact there was no incidents today. The way I look at it is part of almost as we call the grieving process, you know, the whole thing, the whole war, all of that. It's important for them to get back and see what's left of what was their former life. So it's a fairly significant humanitarian effort and it's well worth doing it.
This is very, very hard. When you see what you recall all life, this is very, very hard for me. You see, there is a new house, I think, about 10 years before. All destroyed.
Dobro, ajde sad, mogu vidjeti.
Skopa ti ovo kad ja volim ti drugačije govorio.
Zbog Ranka.
The commanders can make their deals and decent things get done. But up in the hills there are lots of men who are not professionals. Bored, half-trained soldiers who are often drunk by lunchtime. And if there's no enemies to shoot at, well then you just snipe at anything that moves.
Voila.
Hi, my name is Corporal Higgins. I'm presently at Bravo 2. I was just a little while ago in the cougar behind it, and I got sniped at. The bullet passed within about 18 inches of my head. It's not too bad. It's a little scary at times, but it's nothing I want to do again.
40 years of peacekeeping have taught this army that you can't let snipers get away with it.
Basically, right now I've been deployed on an observation task. As I understand, I guess a Canadian soldier was shot at by a sniper. I guess the bullet was not too far away from him. So we've been put in position here to try and locate the sniper that fired. We had nothing firm yet. However, we have a couple of suspected positions.
This man is the best sniper in the whole regiment. He can put a bullet through a dinner plate at 700 meters every time. But here he doesn't shoot dinner plates.
What the individual is doing.
Snipers who shoot at Canadian troops often end up dead, and that has a big effect. National contingents that don't shoot back have lost dozens of soldiers to snipers. Canadians have not lost any.
But the trouble is, we can't let her go back just like that on her
It's striking that shooting back at snipers doesn't harm the Canadians' relations with the enemy commanders. In fact, with the drunk and disorderly elements under tighter control, the commanders are free to behave better, and sometimes they do. In June 1994, the Serbian commander, Nisha Meric, told the Canadians he had a problem. A Muslim woman had made a mistake that's usually fatal. She had lost her way and wandered into his lines. But he didn't want his troops to kill her. He wanted the Canadians to take her home.
She went through a minefield without being injured, but that only women can do that. He wants she's likes
So we thought maybe we could provide some assistance.
Oni misle možda vam može pomoći.
Ja. Hvala. Svi vi zdravi bili.
It's far too far to walk.
Te smjesti da sjediš.
He's going down now, sir.
This is an older couple who are Serbian living in a little town called Zabilje, just south of Visico. Their family, meaning their children and their grandchildren, are all over on the Serbian side. They've been applying to move from the Muslim-controlled area over to the Serbian area. They've received permission to do this through a long process of documentation,
However, the physical move of these people has become very difficult. Basically, they're abandoning their farm and everything that they've worked for over their lives in order to be with their family. I was asked yesterday to see if I could help, and I can't think of a better way to spend the morning.
There are so many mines in Bosnia that the local people now refer to sheep as mine detectors. The peacekeepers, however, can't rely on sheep. They have to move freely in the zone of separation, so the Canadian Army's engineers are out every day clearing mines. But usually, at least one side can see what you're doing, and a newly cleared path is like a freeway to the other side. Any local commander worth his salt will try to run a patrol up the path once it gets dark, just to see what the other side is up to. So the night after the Canadians clear a new path of mines, they often set an ambush on it. But they certainly don't want to startle an intruding patrol into shooting at them. So when the intruders approach their position, the Canadians turn the lights on themselves.
Stop it right there. Stop. Stop. Perfect.
It works every time.
We're on top of Mount Petrum right here, looking through the Nodler. We're looking at the town of Stebani. What we've got is a couple of people gathering around their town hall. We're in the process of observing them and finding out what they're doing. We still have 5 probable Serbian soldiers at the town center of Stebani. Looks like they're either planning or looking for something. They all seem to be carrying AKs. Doesn't appear that they've fired anything yet. However, it's a possibility that they might be our people who fired the mortars earlier.
The trick in peacekeeping is to avoid getting into a hostile relationship with either side. When Colonel Walasachuk invites Commander Maric to go fishing, he accepts without hesitation.
Serb secret weapons.
This is one of the best, how do you call those, baits? This is Bojnik, 4 kilometers from Sarajevo, and the name of the river is Bosnia.
The Bosna River divides Bosnia in half. It goes right through our area of operations, and it provides us with, right now it's providing us with a little bit of enjoyable entertainment, where otherwise it's just an obstacle between people.
And there's an unexpected bonus. The Serbian commander who runs the whole Sarajevo area shows up to check out what's going on. It's the first time the Canadians have been able to meet him.
Neisha explained that there's a competition going on, and he says I had a report about for intervention here, so I came to see what's happening.
You can take a flight jacket. You're absolutely safe here on this territory.
Everybody is walking a narrow line here. Sort of friends, but certainly not allies. But it does help to preserve the fragile ceasefire in the Canadian zone. So long as there's not too much shooting, the supplies continue to roll in. Not just supplies for the Canadians, but for the tens of thousands of civilians who depend on them for food and medicine.
I am the sector commander here of the forces in the Kislyak pocket, and one of my responsibilities is to monitor all the humanitarian aid activities. I visit here on about a weekly basis, and I send the aid requirements back through the what we call our G5, or civil-military cooperation chain, to establish for these people the requirements here. Typically today we're delivering medicine. Another day we will assist in the delivery of food. So that lets them know that they're not left out. It gives me an opportunity to visit the people, and the soldiers really enjoy doing this type of work.
He's never had his tonsils taken out. The node is swollen. So, okay. We'll put him on the cloxacillin for 500 milligrams, and you'll have to take 1 time, 3 times. It's bad. It's really bad. I can see why the MO came. I remember when he came back that day, and I said, "What's wrong, Doc?" And he was really shaken up, and I can see why he's shaken up. This is terrible. Anyways, I'm just gonna head back in there, and we'll try and give out everything we got. And
we're here all the time, and don't forget to take a couple breaks too.
Yeah, okay.
Otherwise you get burnt out.
The situation we have here is that this area of Bosnia has been cut off from aid for the past 2 years. We've just finally, since we've gotten into Bosnia, been able to do the liaison with the locals here in order to get some aid through UNHCR down to the people. And that's what we've done today. We've gone to pick it up in Zenica, and we've done an escort with my Cougar because it's the first time we've done it. And we've used the soldiers to load it up and to give it out. So hopefully we're doing some good here.
This aid is specifically for pregnant ladies, lactating women, and children from 1 to 5. It's mostly high-protein biscuits, dried milk, and orange juice supplements. So the people will come in, they'll fill in the documentation to prove that they qualify for this aid, and we'll give it directly to them.
Yes. на двоje. 60. Još.
Čekaj, stavit ću čitat sol. 30 smo dali ovo keksa, još 30.
Another day, another dollar.
The convoys roll every day around the clock. It should take them about 5 hours to make it over the mountains from the Adriatic Sea to the Canadian zone. But what with accidents, landmines, roadblocks, and sniping, it often takes up to 36 hours.
Well, it started at, what, 3:30 last night? It's 8 o'clock, so 4.5 hours.
Right now we're in a town called Bakovici.
in Bosnia-Herzegovina. It's a hospital slash dumping ground. There's mentally handicapped, physically handicapped, alcoholic people here. The Canadian first contingent that came over originally found the hospital. It had been totally abandoned. There was no staff here. Right now the staff out there is a bunch of volunteers from a town that's up in the mountains. You can hear the bell ringing from right now, a place called Atagici. All the original nurses left. They fled because of the fighting. The patients basically ran astray. They were throughout the countryside. Eventually they were rounded up again through both the Canadian soldiers, some of the UNHCR personnel. The UNHCR, their main job here is to do all the supplying of the food, medical supplies, everything else. Whether it's the convoys being delayed, the lack of them showing up a lot of the times we will actually use some of our supplies to try and help them make through the hard times until the UNHCR gets through. Mainly due to the fact we're using the German rations and there's a lot of food in it, more than a normal person would consume in a normal day. Unless you're in a battle situation where you need all the calories. So we collect it all and we'll give it to them. There was countless dead bodies found right in this yard. There was people that were bedridden, starving to death. They couldn't get out of their beds and that. The Canadian government and the UN had to bring diapers in. It's not something that soldiers trained to do, but it's just one of the jobs we had to do because it's part of our mandate. The soldiers were actually changing the diapers of the bedridden patients. They were dealing with a lot of disease, starvation. The burials up in the graveyard, they were sometimes burying 3, 4, 5 people a day.
When the patients ran wild, one ran even wilder. His name is Pavo. Pavo got a hammer and started hunting down and killing his fellow patients. He wasn't doing it in the name of God and country, so they've chained him up. He even ate parts of his victims. Today, the Canadians are escorting a busload of civilians down a stretch of road they call Sniper Alley.
Anita. Veronica.
It's a weird kind of war. Why would anybody want to kill these people?
And directions where they fired from is Gračanica.
But Bosnians are not crazy, and we are not different. Lies and manipulation unchecked can bring this kind of disaster anywhere. So we keep soldiers to protect us from the disasters, and if we have enough wisdom and love, we send our soldiers to help others who have not been so fortunate.
Yeah, there's been some indirect artillery rounds falling in the area that the buses are going to go through. I've deployed a patrol to that area to see if it's stable at the moment. As soon as they give us a green light, we're going to try and smoke these buses before anything else can happen.
Bila sam u Zenici.
He was in Zenica.
Prvi puta da vidim svoju majku I svoga brata.
To see for the first time,
posle više od 2 godine.
After 2 years, to see her mother and brother.
49er, acknowledge note. Roger. 49er, roger out to you. 4-2, move now, out. 4-2 Foxtrot, getting from that musket. Area
Short is just around the corner as you're entering into Sniper Alley, over.
So they're shooting at us from the hills up here.
They're shooting at us as we go into the corner from the left, over.
The soldier's job is to put his mortal body between innocent people and danger. It's an old, strange, hard profession, but it's worthy of respect.
What's happening here, Major? You're putting the vehicles
between where the small arms fire has been directed at the buses and the buses themselves.